What's going on, mi gente? Welcome back to another episode of Miguel Talks Money. Today, we're talking about how you can take $1,000 and turn that into almost $490,000. Now, that might sound crazy. Yo sé, eso es mucho dinero, but I figured it out. I learned, I've asked questions, I've talked to mentors, I've talked to advisors, CFPs. Like, this is just, it's really honestly very basic stuff. And I wanted to share that with you. You'll be able to hear all of this through my blog. Well, technically you won't hear the blog, but you'll read the blog. What you'll get in this episode today is what the S&P 500 is, how you can turn $1,000 into $400,000 plus without investing another dollar. That's crazy, right? I know. That's why I'm obsessed with this stuff. Calmate. Cool. Is this possible to do on a low income? Yes, it is. When should I start investing? So, let's get into it. Welcome again, mi gente. Thank you guys again for stopping by for the Miguel Talks Money Show. This is a new segment that I'm working on right now. I wanted to kind of simplify things. Today, I'll be covering how we can invest $1,000 into the stock market and can turn that into approximately $400,000 plus over a period of time. It won't be quick. This is a long-term game. We always got to remember that. This is a long-term game that we're playing, and mi gente, we need to be patient. And we need to roll with the punches because it's a roller coaster, baby. Before I get going, though, I want to do a quick disclosure that I am not a licensed financial professional. I might be someday, but I don't know if I want to do that route because I won't be able to give this kind of information. So I'm working with compliance. I'm talking to people about it at my job. So we'll see. This is not investment advice. Take this with a grain of salt. Get financial professional help. If you have questions, talk to an advisor, talk to a CFP. Don't listen to some random Latino on the internet just telling you what to do. My hands are clean. I have some knowledge in this though, and I wanted to share that with you. So today, the first thing, if you don't know me, my name is Miguel. I am a digital creator obsessed with personal finance, entrepreneurship, and business. My goal is to empower other immigrants and other people in the similar situations as myself, whether you're a young professional, new college grad, or you're older and you just want to, get some basic knowledge because we have similar situations that we can relate on. I'm here. The first thing, $1,000 into $490,000. How can we do that? ¿Cómo podemos hacer eso? So you might be thinking that there's no way. There is a way. The way to do that is to take that $1,000 that you have, whether you're saving it up, whether you have it in a bank account, whether you have it wherever you want, you just put it into S&P 500 index fund, a low cost index fund. Now you might not have $1,000 yet, but we'll get there. All right, we'll get there because you might be thinking, I don't have $1,000 just sitting around. Not everybody does. I totally understand because I have not had $1,000 just sitting around either. And 60%, a new study just came out and I might link it in here, that 60% of Americans can't afford an expense that costs over $1,000. And that's kind of crazy. That's really sad. Like, why? Because we're not teaching people how to handle their money, how to handle their personal finances, because if they did, then they wouldn't be taking out so many loans. Don't get me started on student loans. It's important, first of all, to know what the S&P 500 is. It is a stock market index that tracks the performance of the 500 top companies of the United States, meaning it's the 500 best companies in the United States. You have a small percentage in each one of them. If you have $500 and you put $500 into it, you put $1 into each one of those pretty much. You'll get 5 of the top companies in the United States. That means out of these 500 companies, you have a percentage in each one of them. Chances are they're not gonna crash. Which companies are they, you might be asking? Your Tesla, their Google, Facebook, Apple, Microsoft. These companies have been around for years. They've built a foundation and more than likely they are not going to crash anytime soon. In order to grow your money, you want to grow with these companies here in the United States. We'll get into diversification of your portfolio at a later date. This is just super basic stuff. If you already know this stuff, then you don't need to watch this. This is for the people who need just that very basic step, that need that help to get from not being able to even have $1,000 to being able to have thousands of dollars that they can put into it. If you don't know the struggle, then this video is not for you, all right? So the S&P 500 survives constantly throughout history. It's shown us that throughout the last 100 years, has averaged a return of approximately 10%. You can go Google it right now. You might find 10.5%, 10.4%, 10.3%, whatever, 10%. We'll call it 10%. That means it's survived the Great Depression. It survived the dot-com boom. It survived Black Monday. It survived 9/11. It survived COVID. It's survived. And it returns. And your money that goes in there will come back. Right now, we're in weird times. Things are weird right now. We don't know what's happening. We're technically in a recession, but we're not in a recession. You might be hearing all these different things, and just ignore the noise. Ignore the noise. Stay focused on your goal. The goal is to have that huge retirement that we can send money back to the family, that we can provide for our own family, where we can have a foundation and we can retire without having to work late into our 60s and 70s and not have any money saved up. And that's really sad for people that haven't had the opportunity to do that. And that's what we're working on changing here. What you need to do before investing in anything is to set up your budget. I'm telling you, you need to set up your budget. You need to work on getting all of your numbers, all of your expenses, everything you need month after month to live and survive. You need that in a budget so you can see it in front of you. Find out how much money you have coming in, see how much money you can have going out, and see how much money you can put in investing. Take care of yourself, then take care of your future. So how do we do this on a low income? That goes back to the budget. First thing we're gonna do is set up that budget, and I'll put the video in here somewhere. It'll be here on the right or left, but you can check out how to set up your budget, how I set up mine, at least how it's worked for me to be able to get out of the paycheck to paycheck to paycheck to paycheck to paycheck and not have any money left over. I'll be able to show you how I did that. And I'm by far I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form that I'm very rich and I am very wealthy. I've just worked really hard. I've become very obsessed with this, and I really want to be able to change people's lives in this way. That's why I've considered becoming a financial advisor myself, especially being a Latino advisor here in my community in Grand Rapids, where I don't see many Spanish-speaking advisors that are able to manage people's money for them or be able to even translate this into Spanish. So set up your budget, pay off the high interest debts, because you're paying so much money into it, you don't have money. That's just going to keep growing. It's just going to be a debt that keeps growing and growing and growing, and you won't be able to pay that off because you're just constantly trying to do that. So attack that with the money that you have. Get your basic monthly needs, attack it, then pay off that high interest debt. Do it whatever method you need, but just that's how I did it. It's my opinion. And if you don't have $1,000 saved up or $3,000, which is what some of the average is, for example, in the Vanguard VTSAX fund, you need $3,000 to even invest into that. And you're thinking, well, damn, I don't have $3,000 just sitting there ready to just put away into some investment fund. Well, that's all right. There's these new things called ETFs. In Vanguard ETFs, you can put whatever amount of money you need to in there. Whether you have $100, $20, whatever, you just put it in there as a dollar for dollar. Put the money in there, and you can just put whatever you have in there, and over time it'll start building. They're very, very, very low cost. You don't pay very high expense ratios on them. Expense ratios, if you don't know what an expense ratio is, it's just what they charge you to have money and to be in there. That's what they charge you. They got to make their money somehow. And these are some of the lowest costs versus working with an advisor. Do I think you need an advisor if you're in your 20s or 30s? Not necessarily. I think they're helpful. They help a lot. I work with one, and I see the changes that we make and how much we're able to handle and help people. And then set up an emergency fund. You got to set up something for a rainy day. You got to prepare for the rain. Put what you can into your Roth IRA if you have one. If you don't have one, start one. You can max it out. It's $6,000 a year that you can put in there. If you're over 50, you can put $7,000 a year. But the reason a lot of people will suggest a Roth IRA is because that's tax-free money. That's money you don't have to pay taxes on ever again. That's already been taxed right now. In the future, when you go to take it out, it's all free money. If you have $1 million in there, that's $1 million coming to you. If you have a pre-tax account you have not paid taxes on it, like in a 401k or a traditional IRA, that means you will pay a percentage of taxes when you take that money out, when you need it for retirement. Now, in the long-term game, we're looking for a long-term growth because it's a roller coaster. And investing this $1,000 that you can do into the S&P 500 will grow up to $490,000 in a 65-year time frame. Not all of us have 65 years. We want to do it faster than that. But this is just a very basic example. We're just assuming that you put $1,000 in and you never touch it again, and you look away, you turn, and you just leave it. and you let it sit there. Compound interest will let that grow over time. And over time, you'll be able to see the results in there. That's not including any raises. That's not including additional contributions. That's not including any of that. So this is just putting $1,000 in. And I will link the calculator that you can play around with these numbers in the description below. That's just a really quick wrap up of it. I don't want to make a very, very long video, but I just wanted to describe that to you guys and to show you guys what you guys can do, what you can do with that $1,000. If you put more in there, you can play with the calculator. You can put additional contributions in there. You can put your $1,000 starting out in an investment. You can put additional contributions and then put an average of 10%. Make it 7%. See how much you can put in there. And then add your additional contributions at the bottom, and you'll be able to see how the money grows in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 65 years. It's amazing. It's amazing what you can see once you learn that, once you have a handle on your finances with your budget, once you have a safety net for yourself, once you have the goal and the vision, you attack it and you go and you can do it. And I believe that you can, because I know I can. Through hard work, baby. We got this though. Let's go. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys being around, sticking around for the whole thing. If you have, shout out to you, shout out to the real ones, and let's get this money.